The opinions, viewpoints, and beliefs presented on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the management, the affiliates and broadcast partners, or the sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
And hello everyone, and welcome to Scarefest Radio's Body and Spirit, presented by the Mama Ruby's family of holistic and metaphysical events. And tonight my guest is Mr. Mark James, and of course you've seen him on the show before. He's a regular, but we're doing something a little different tonight. Normally on Body and Spirit, I kind of do a topic-driven show. It's very rare I just do an interview. Well, tonight's topic is, as I posted on the Facebook tees, blatant commercialism. I didn't have anything prepared tonight like it was supposed to be, and I saw Mark last week at the Mystical Fair in Lexington, and I said, hey, let's talk about Akashic awareness, the business, not the Akashic awareness I'm aware of. Akashic. And everybody, of course, Mark is a new and hopefully proud sponsor of the show. We're like I said, blatant commercialism. There's just no getting around it. But first of all, right out of the bat, first of all, Mark, now has anybody walked in and called you a big hippie yet?
No. The only one that's doing that is Shelley.
Now, along those lines, before we even get to the business, I have a surprise for you. I want to know how someone with your background, i.e. military background, who I would think would just be
Republican, Southern Baptist?
Something along those lines. How does a person with that background get into all this touchy-feely stuff?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I know I did it. It was very quick. I know I'd always been interested in a lot of other things besides, the 66 books of the King James Bible, but growing up, that was heresy and things. But I still found it fascinating. And then, of course, Shelley was always more open-minded than I am or was. And, we would literally have debates. There's two things you don't talk about with people you love: politics and religion. And of course, over wine, we would start talking about religion. And, she always had a much broader view, and mine was very narrow. And, for me, I just finished my master's in emergency and disaster management for the military. We were separated meaning I was still in a command in Colorado. She got transferred to Fort Campbell. And so in that, habit of research, I just started researching. And then, believe it or not, it was the audiobook, The Da Vinci Code, that got me thinking, oh, hey, I can see. But, and it's still a process going through, but I think whenever you can finally say it's enough of the bullshit and start to connect with your inner being, it's not really so much touchy-feely because it's your true essence, if that makes sense. And I still would sit there probably and talk to you, and we would say, oh, that's bullshit. But that's not good, as you said. For this is commercialism at its best.
And now, for the record, everyone, I will sit down with a adult beverage, and I will talk politics and religion with any reasonable human being. And unfortunately, lately that seems to be fewer and farther between. Just saying. But see, now I've went religiously, much more open than I was raised. Now, granted, I might not, I'm not, I haven't reached your plateau, but I don't look at even my own religion near the same way as I did growing up. In other words, it's
Right.
my view is much less rigid now of what I believe the higher power is and what the plan for my life and all that stuff. However, I'm still the same foul-mouthed, hard-drinking conservative that I always was. So,
And that's I still do things. I mean, you know that. Yeah, and see, I think that's all the straight laced to me is all that fear based junk that we've accumulated, and some of it spills over into people's their own theories and beliefs. But you know, my truth's different than your truth, different than anyone else's truth. And to me, if you see nothing wrong in that, and I see nothing wrong in that for what I do, then that's perfect. Who cares what other people think?
I agree with you, and I want to throw in there that I still have very deep respect for, pardon the expression, the people that are observant of a fear-based religion. I draw the line. I draw the line at the hypocrites in that bunch. In other words, the old joke is, and I'll tell this to any preacher coming and going. The difference in a Catholic and a Baptist is the Catholic says hi at the liquor store. That's kind of how I've always felt about it. So I've alienated enough people tonight. Now we're going to get to Akashic awareness.
Yes.
Now, the first thing that what really spurred me to do this was not a lack of a guest for tonight. It was that you recently purchased Om Sweet Om.
Yes.
And
that was something that was an opportunity just unfolded. And,
yeah, I mean it's fresh off the presses. Yeah, it's
yeah. It
now
is.
I just want to throw it out there. Om Sweet Om, everybody. That was Bev and Jim down in the Mystical Fair. A lot of jewelry, a lot of metaphysical stuff, and they were just basically too many irons in the fire. But they, of all the places that I have spent money over the years buying stuff for my metaphysical life, they if it wasn't for giving me the cousin discount, they would have raked it in, because we're always picking up some stone or little trinket or something like that. So, once I'm back in buying mode, Mark, I'm expecting that
Okay.
family discount.
No, yeah, and no, we've actually been blessed to know Bev and Jim for over 7 years. When I first, well, it's still a transition. When I first learned to read the records, I actually we met them at festivals that they were working, and then kind of always met them, always talked to them. We went to a Scare Fest several years ago, ran into them there, and so no, we've have known them for quite some time. They actually got me in doing festivals in Lexington before we ever even had a storefront, when I was just doing readings. And then, not too long ago, the opportunity came, and of course, we jumped at it. But I want people to know Bev's still involved. She is, she's the one that still actually gets the jewelry. Shelley likes to shop for stones, but Bev is still our jewelry shopper, if you will. So, that energy's still there. The Om Sweet Om energy will always be with it. We actually, with Tom Benedict, a couple years ago, Tom Stones, a lot of people knew, he transitioned about 3 years ago. But it was actually, Bev and Jim that were influential in helping us get some of his stones for our store. So, it's funny that you say that, because now that I'm sitting there having to think about the whole timeline, yeah, they've been like a silent partner in this thing without me realizing it until just now sitting here, because a lot of what we have at the store has been influenced, by us knowing them in one fashion or another.
Now we want to
Get
get
you
in.
down here, which makes it look like I'm probably cross-eyed. I should look up here, right?
Actually, it looks fine from where I'm sitting. You ought to be where I'm at. Half time I'm looking at the upper screen. Sometimes I look at the lower screen. I know I'm eclectic. Everybody just assumes I'm eclectic. Now, first of all, everybody, if you want to play the home version, the website is akashicawareness.com. That is AKASHIC awareness.com. And I will tonight I won't, but he actually asked me to look over his website and critique it. So I'm gonna rip his website. Actually, it renders good on the web. It's on the phone that I don't like it, but on the web it's actually fairly easy to navigate. No big complaints about it there. But I was just going to pretty much go through what all you did at the website. Then he sends me this whole list of stuff that's not included. So let's get into that a little bit. Now,
Okay.
First, right off the bat, before the commercial break, color therapy. What
Yes.
is color therapy?
All right. Well, that's funny because if you notice if they do the home version, they'll see that page is still blank. Like I said, it was originally known as the John of God crystal bed, and then with his recent endeavors and admissions, we were like, well, want to take that energy out of there. And yet what people don't realize is that, there's color involved with the chakras and the crystals that are lit. They all have a frequency. Mm-hmm. And every color has its own frequency. And color therapy is actually a real thing. I have colored glasses at the store, 12 different colors. So, if I'm in a certain mood, I'll pop one of those on. And as long as I can still see, I'll walk around. But if not, I got to sit down. The dark purple, it gets a little rough. So color therapy is another form of energy work that we offer in aligning our bodies because there's frequency in the stones, there's frequency in the colors, and of course, in that room, there are solfeggio frequencies playing. So, they're getting a whole well-rounded embrace. I don't even know what the word is.
Okay, I want to dig into it a little bit. This does not sound overly...
Experience. There you go.
This does not sound overly crazy to me, which is very unusual for anything that he says. I do want you to explain the process a little bit more to me. Okay, because I understand that colors have a light frequency. So when you look at blue,
it's in the same room as our biomat, which I know we're going to get to. So we have the biomat on a lower setting. So they're also laying on a bit of amethyst crystals and tourmaline. And there's far infrared heat that goes 6 inches into the body. So they're that. And then what we do is we align each of the lights, which are color coded with the chakras, with the traditional, 7 chakras. And then, so we align them to the 7 chakras. And then we have the solfeggio music playing in a headset form. And so there's the far infrared heat, so there's warmth, there's relaxation. And then, of course, there's the work with the crystals and the colors and so forth.
Give me an example of what a particular color can do for a person.
All right. Well, I'm wearing red. So today I was in a very competitive state. The thing is that we got to look at colors and don't look at colors as a positive or negative. Just look at colors. We've often, I've had conversations about you only see 0.0036% of the light spectrum. So there's only certain colors we're going to see anyway. And so each color has its own energy or connection to it. And the chakras are a great example. It's, for example, I knew I'd get something in here, Fool, because, I told Shelly I was more worried about this tonight than I am any other because I have no idea what the hell we're talking about. But it's the store. I know the store. It was just I didn't know where we were going. Okay, the number 666, the Theosophy will say that ties to the humanness. It's not evil. In your first 3 chakras, your root, sacral, and solar plex, which is red, orange, and yellow, tie us to more earthly type energies. And then you have green, which is a loving because it represents the heart chakra, and green is a very loving color. A lot of people think green and money, and yet, you look at one of the, Edgar Casey said one of the money stone is like citrine, which isn't even green. But so green is a very loving and warm color. And so you think of it, that makes sense, because look at spring. When green is coming out, everybody's happy. There's a lovingness to it. And so, that's a great example. And I always tell people, to me, green is like the horizon. So you have your three earthly chakras and colors. Then you have the horizon, and then you get into the more spiritual colors, which are your violets, your blues, your purples, and things like that. Which also ties into the stones.
Well, see, I'm not going to say you're losing me. I'm just going to say this is too much for me to wrap my head around.
You guys need to come out. We'll just give you the royal treatment.
I'm working on it, dude. I'm working on it. Next road show, whatever they call it, we're going to try to get out there and check the place out. Elizabethtown's just like not down the road from me like other places are. But okay, now this is what I do on the show. I can't let go of things. Okay,
No.
You mentioned your red shirt. Now,
Yes.
when you picked out that red shirt, were you thinking, I want to be aggressive today?
No, I just wanted to be grounded. I looked at it as more of a root chakra, and then, of course, root chakra survival. It just so happened that, those things turned out that way. And aggressive, and not in an overly aggressive, but I wanted my root chakra to be, connected. And so I chose red. Plus, it's a lot cooler today than yesterday, so it was long sleeve and hanging in the closet. Now, I will tell you, I do strategically look. When I'm teaching, I will try to wear blue for my throat chakra. So you're right. I do often color coordinate things.
We'll touch on this very quickly when we come back from the commercial break, everybody. We'll be right back with Body and Spirit. Have you checked out the Mama Ruby's family of metaphysical and spiritual shows? The Mystical Fair in Lexington, Kentucky, Lexington's only monthly psychic and holistic healing arts fair. The Inner Light Festivals in Louisville in June and Lexington in November. And watch for Mama Ruby's Expo coming in 2020. Plus, Mama Ruby's Meta Lecture Series featuring interesting guests speaking on fascinating subjects. Start your journey now at mamarubies.com for more information. And welcome back to Body and Spirit, presented by Mama Rubies. The next mystical fair, the Lexington Mystical Fair, May 25th and 26th. Find more about that at mysticalfairlex.com. And the Inner Light Festival is coming up June 1st through June 2nd. And I have been informed they still have vendor space available. So if you, Louisville, Kentucky, June 1st, June 2nd, go to innerlightfestival.com for more information about becoming a vendor for that. Very quickly, we don't have time to cover it, but he showed me during the commercial break, he's reading a book now about Tesla. And Tesla,
I have a lot of books. It was just...
Okay, I just wanted to throw that out there to you. I find Tesla fascinating, but there is so much bullshit surrounding him, I can't tell what's real and what's not.
Right.
And so that's my only drawback to Nikolai Tesla is
Plus,
I think
you made the mistake of saying you can hear me during the commercial break, so I just wanted to throw that picture up and say something.
Well, I mean, it works for me. Now we're talking, everybody, if you weren't paying attention, to Mark James, the man who chooses his clothes by chakra color.
That's right.
Now, what does that say about a person like me who just goes to the closet and actually has whatever order they get put in the closet? I actually That's one of my OCD things. I pick the next shirt in line. I don't worry about what order they're in, but I actually do pick my shirts by whatever's in front.
It says you like to pick the shirt that's in front.
But color-wise, I'm just totally off the mark here.
No, I'm probably the one off the mark. It's I just do that. It's just an awareness I have. I wear, if you notice too, I wear a lot of Naco and Medicine for the People shirts. So it's just certain things. When I am doing certain things, I will look for specific colors. That's all. It doesn't necessarily mean I have to pull it out.
So
it's like picking your crystals.
I get the concept. I just never actually met anybody that did it.
He did, just didn't know.
Now now this one here, you put it on a separate line, so I'm going to ask Spooky 2.
Spooky 2 is a frequency machine. It's called Spooky 2 because it uses quantum entanglement. Is one of the ways it's sent. So, for example, I can take your DNA, I can take your fingernail, put it in a device I have, and I can send you frequencies with you not being here. So it's quantum mechanics, and Einstein called that spooky science. And so it's called a Spooky 2, but it's a frequency generator. I have it at I have it in Lexington. Next time I'll show you.
So, okay, you take something that has a person's DNA, hair, fingernail,
well, hair would have
blood,
to be,
semen, I don't know.
But yeah, and I can send you frequencies, and that's quantum entanglement. And so that's why it is called a Spooky 2. But it's a frequency, and it's not just that. I can infuse frequencies in anything you have. I even have the radionics part where I can take your medicine and infuse the energy of the medicine into, say, your water. It's all energy.
I just never really thought about medicine as having a
well, that was an example. I could, people, if you want your chakra bracelet, even though the stones have it, we can infuse the frequencies back into it. There's so many things you can do with the spooky that are both, for yourself or for other things.
So, okay, now once again, wrapping my head around this, you turn on the frequency. I'm assuming you match the frequency to what the person. Okay, it comes with an instruction manual. I would have guessed. Okay, so you the Spooky 2 machine, which sends frequencies. Now, does someone when they're giving you their blood, semen, or stool sample?
No, I won't do that.
Fingernail. Okay, fingernail.
Right. Okay,
I'm sorry. When I hear DNA,
Have you ever heard of Royal Robert Rife?
No.
All right, he was a scientist in San Diego in the 1930s, had over a 90% success rate curing cancer, and he did so with frequency. And it was known as the Rife machine. Now, of course, the American Medical Association chased him into Mexico, but in 1982, his family won a lawsuit against the American Medical Association. His estate won. And so there's the Rife frequencies, and there is a slew of there's a lot of Russian frequencies. And what it is there's over 40,000 pre-programmed frequencies in this. And so it's not just random frequencies.
I assumed that.
But yeah, so it started, I say it's an off cousin of the Rife machine, which dates back to the 30s. And when we talk about the pulse electromagnetic field therapy that we have, we'll get back into frequencies and how NASA's even patented some of the wave structures that are available.
Now, but the question really, I would say I was going for specificity. If a person gives you their fingernail and you put it in the machine, do they tell you that I need the frequency for? I hate to use cancer, but success or whatever.
There are protocols for cancer, but a lot of times, it ranges from something as simple as balancing to if they have thyroid issues, if they have, I use it a lot for me on certain things, inflammation, liver. There's like I said, over 40,000. It's not just frequency specific to that. It then breaks it down into various medicines and things that have been used worldwide for that specific thing. And so, again, we're energy, and what this is doing is addressing the energy. Now, it is in no way, shape, or form to take place of, a physician. People, sometimes I always say, even the best mechanic takes their car to another mechanic, right? So this is not to eliminate, going and seeing a doctor, something's wrong with you. What it does is it is supplementing it, because it's a frequency work. It's Newtonian. Newtonian medicine is the static medicine that we have been forced to live by, but this is more of an Einstein Tesla type thing where it's addressing energy. In Atlantis, when they addressed things, they didn't address the physical body, they addressed the ethereal body. And then if you look at, Chinese medicine, the old days, if you were sick, you didn't pay the doctor because their job was to keep your energy and all the meridian lines aligned. And so it's about energy in the sense of using it with frequencies, and it's tying the two together. And like I said, in 1930s, not Tesla, Reich had a very success run addressing cancer, but it wasn't something that you can make a lot of money at.
So this the frequency machine is primarily for physical well-being. Physical well-being.
I don't mess around. If you were there, let me say that. It's for me, I play a lot with it. But for people who come in, or like at the festival, it's very serious work. But there's just so much out there to learn. It's fascinating.
We're going to take our next commercial break, everybody. We'll be right back with more Body and Spirit, brought to you by Mama Rubies. Do you feel lost in life? Do you seem to be stuck in emotions that are not yours? Is your home not the sanctuary it should be? Contact Spirit Mechanics, where they take a team approach to your metaphysical and spiritual problems. Spirit Mechanics specializes in aura cleansing, stone attunement, attachment removal, and house cleansings. Spirit Mechanics tailors their approach to your individual spiritual path and needs. Find them every month at Lexington, Kentucky's Mystical Fair, mysticalfairlex.com, or on Facebook by searching Spirit Mechanics, that's MECHANIX. Spirit Mechanics, for your spiritual health and well-being. And just a little teaser, the Spirit Mechanics boys will have a new website ready for public consumption here just any time. But I'm not going to tell you about it yet because it's not ready for public consumption. Now, I want to point out, Mark, everybody, we're talking to Mark James of Akashic Awareness. That is AkashicAwareness.com for those playing the home version. I want to point out, sometimes you get tickled to I sound very flippant about this stuff. But I actually took that last thing very seriously. This is the way I sound. It's the way I process things. Now, let's go on and because I can tell you've brought it up twice. You're dying to talk about your pulsed electromagnetic field therapy.
Right. It is PEMF. It uses sawtooth waveform and square wave. It is another frequency device that has over 300 pre-built, let's say, elements in the device. But based on, where on your body, we would know where to set the pad based on that. But let's just start. The base is human resonance, 7.83, and that's the resonance of the Earth. And then it ranges from that to the Earth's own geomagnetic field. So it's very conducive for humans. PEMF was first identified back in the 60s. When the first Russian cosmonaut came out of space, the Russian scientists identified he wasn't adapting well. They found that he lacked PEMF. So today, both Russian and the U.S. space programs have it built in their suits and their craft. Now, the first part is the whole mat, and it has 6 tightly wrapped copper coils, and it uses sawtooth waveform. And, sawtooth waveform is designed to allow the maximum number of frequencies to penetrate your body. And then we get into square wave. Square wave, and you can actually find the study on our website, was patented by NASA in 2009 after they did a 4-year study on what addressed damaged tissue in mammals the best, and they found it was square wave. And I always love to tell people this, because if you remember around 2006 when my beloved Cowboys did the horse collar tackle on Terrell Owens and he broke his ankle, well, he was able to play in the Super Bowl 6 weeks later, and he actually healed using square wave. So square wave is, again, it all ties into the frequency of things. But the pulse electromagnetic field, it's very conducive for humans. The first 8 minutes, I always say it energizes, alkalizes your cells of your body. And then, anywhere from 16 to 24 minutes is the second part. And that's where we use specific square wave to address, sore back, inflammation, insomnia, things like that. But it's just really on that. You just say, if something's wrong, we have a sheet. We'll look at it. If it's there, it's pre-programmed. It's the fifth element. There's a book on it. It's called The Fifth Element. And I liked it because the fifth element's actually the Akashic. So that's what drew my mind to it. Shelley actually found it researching. But, it deals with oxygenating the body and things like that. But all of these things, again, they don't take the place of a doctor. And at the same point, a lot of people are I don't know, they're leery because they want that quick fix. And, so often we know that, in the word dis-ease, there's a lot more to it. And so it's something that, for it to benefit, it's something you really need to do X amount of times, like 3 times a week if you can, for whatever you're addressing. But no, I love it. It's awesome. And again, you get solfeggio frequency music. So when you can do that and fall asleep, because we'll wake you up. You don't have to worry about anything.
I mean, it sounds very interesting, and I do believe in the healing ability of tuning of frequencies. I was actually, and I think that's actually here on your list of under modalities for clearing chakras. But I was introduced to it by a shaman out of Louisville. He uses, when you go to him for spiritual healing and everything, physical or otherwise, that's how he decides what parts of your body. He has this little tuning fork, and so I'm on board with the I would say healing inducing properties of frequency. Is that a good way to word that?
That's a great way. I mean, because to me, the best healer is yourself. We have to be open, and as Dr. Bruce Lipton in the Biology of Belief, we have to believe. And so, yeah, these are all parts of that. And so that's a great way of looking at it. I may have to steal that.
Well, I mean, okay. Once again, it's me dumbing things down to my 5th grade reading level. But it makes sense to me that, as you worded it earlier, you don't use this in place of a doctor or whatever, but it is right. This is another example of doing everything you can for a specific ailment. Now, I do want to apologize to the viewers and listeners. We are getting a storm here, and I'm not going to drop the F-bomb like I did in the other show, but it is pouring down rain here, and it's enough to come into the studio. It reminds me of what? It's Channel 56 at their news in the morning. You can hear it on their tin roof. Anyway, let's move on now to the we've been talking physical ailments for the most part.
Yep.
Now we're into clearing and chakras.
Right.
Now here's where things get really fuzzy to me. Because physical I can deal with. I have a bad shoulder. I'm taking CBD oil from it. BlueLeafNaturals.com.
There you go.
Which is yes, they're, and I'm not allowed to use the word dealer when I speak it. They are an authorized distributor or something like that.
Can you use Pusher?
Pusher, whatever. But now we're into clearing and chakra energy work. Now, I have had energy work done. I do, for your spiritual well-being, I do believe sometimes that energy work can help. But now I guess you could say I've had a pretty simple. In other words, I've had the beginner version. I've had, massage therapists wave their hands over me and do that kind of stuff. And, do the genie nod and that kind of thing. But you've actually, okay, he gave me a list here of things that they do with clearing of chakras. Now, first of all, I want to say, what is the typical reason a person would come in? Do they tell you what's wrong with them and you say you need energy work, or do they come in saying I need energy work?
I'll never tell you need anything. It's not for me to say that you need something. They normally are talking to Shelly, and
she tells them.
Well, she says this is offered, and
right, okay.
It has to be their choice. Or you guys come in, it'll be part of your royal treatment. Because everything that and once they decide they want it, then what I've done is everything I wrote there was just little things I've learned from tuning forks from Carol Gailey. The Reiki. I've taken Reiki 1 and 2 4 times. I'm finally going to get 3 under my belt, but I just keep taking things, and so it's just healing the pendulum work from a guy out of Asheville. It was just things and I just started working, and as I did, I started adding more and more from what I had around me available, saying, well, why not? Because I know this addresses this. And so it became, this process that I sent you now. And so everything there, the rattle I got from my shamanic journey in classes, to shake up the energy, the selenite. And it's just energy. It's not that that you need healing. It's just, our energy gets impacted and we become unbalanced. And we get irritated. A lot of times we don't know why, and it's just our energy's off.
Well, me not being the in other words, I'm not shy about things. So when I felt that my energy was, probably I used the word funky at the time.
Uh-huh.
But the one reason I word the questions the way I do is a lot of my viewers don't know how to walk into a place of business such as Akashic Awareness, AkashicAwareness.com, and explain. In other words, they don't know what they're looking for. So I guess that was a process I was trying to get into. If a person comes, give me a scenario of a typical person that you allegedly will not recommend clearing the chakra to.
I know it's bad marketing, right?
Yeah, that's you're a sucky salesman. You might, but
I am. It's not my place to say you need anything. I just tell you what is offered. But what happened?
But you could still, you're going to recommend things, aren't you?
Well, Shelly usually is the one. My face is always in a book, or I'm back there trying to lip sync Nako, something like that. I'm normally never up at the front with the stones when someone walks in. Shelly is, and so she'll talk to them, ask if there's something specific they're looking for, and you'd be amazed at because really a store like ours draws a lot of the people, like you were just saying. They don't know what they're looking for. They don't know if it's their energy. And so they'll just come in, and then there's something about Shelly, as they just start telling her their story. And in that whole dialogue, it just...
I hardly ever talk to Shelly. I'm always telling this dude here.
I know, well, But it's just... And so it's just one of those things, again, we give tours, and a lot of times, the tours are, because, they don't fully grasp. I had to quit giving tours because Shelly said, nobody understood what the hell I was talking about.
I can understand that.
But I totally understood. It's not. It's really just changing the paradigm shift of how we think. there's that saying, as above, so below. And we're just like, well, we look down here and we look up. But, and then we'll admit, oh, we understand our aura and our ethereal body. Well, right there is an as above, so below. Your ethereal body is the above and your physical body is the below. And so the two, if they're out of sync, we can be funky, as you said. And not in a Saturday night disco evening funky, but just messed up.
Right.
And in talking with Shelly, it comes out. So, and then, because she's the one who tells me that I have work to do. But now, you come in like, Rachel, who does massages at our place every Thursday, and you know her from Lexington.
Right.
So, you come in like that, I'll give you the rural treatment. So then you can explain to others, because the only intention I have is I go in, I'll throw the salt down to purify the area. But from there, it's just, I'm not going to tell you that this is going to do anything to you. You're the judge of that. But I can say you'll come out relaxed, if nothing else.
I guess, okay, what I want to kind of do, now see, now who's being flippant? I'm trying to get my mindset. Okay, quick history without making the show about me. When I got into the metaphysical side of it, I had a very specific purpose. I had been ghost hunting. I'd been walking around carrying meters and dowsing rods, and people would ask me, I had psychics say, "You're very gifted," and I'm like, no, I'm not, because I had it all turned off, and some things happened, and so I went to the mystical fair years ago with that question in mind. So I'm wondering, your typical first-time customer, do they come in on a recommendation? So-and-so said, hey, I should check this out. Or do they come in saying, reading you their list of, I shouldn't even say it that way. Do they come in because they know they're looking for something, but they don't know what they're looking for?
Yes. We have them that'll come in wanting to know what is AKA chic, instead of Akashic. That was a joke. Actually, someone asked me that once. No. Yeah, we do have referrals, but a lot of times, the ones like we were just talking about, they come in, there's something that they know is not right, and they're like drawn, and so they're there. And when you walk in, the first thing you're greeted with is a room full of crystals. So you walk in, and there's that energy that's just, smacking you right there, but it's all good energy. And in that, I don't know if it's the energy of that environment that just opens them up, but, it just seems to naturally unfold. Or by Google, Google, they'll search metaphysical stores, and then there we are. It's like anything else. They have to want to address, for any of this stuff to work, they have to want.
Absolutely, yes. I guess you could say I'm trying to open it up where I'll put it this way, we get a lot of viewers for this show that are flowing over from the first hour of Serious Scarefest Radio, watching too many horror movies and all that kind of stuff. So
hey, that shit was scary.
So I want to make this as inviting as I can, because I really do. I like this. Of course, I love you guys, but I do. I like this type of process for looking for things that might or might not work. Now, that's always my disclaimer when I talk about herbs, CBD oil. I was in the horse industry, and they would come out with some supplement, and they would say, greatest thing ever, and people would ask me about it, and I would say, if they ever actually come out with the one thing that does everything, then we don't need the rest of the crap.
And they'll never release it.
But I do encourage people to try these different alternative therapies, and so I wanted to make that very inviting to people. Now, on the clearing and now, what makes a person need their chakra cleared?
Not wearing a red shirt when they should. No, I don't.
That was
it
weak.
varies. I mean, when you come in the Aura Cloud, which you saw on our website, which is what Jim does at the Mystical Fair, it's a Kirlian photography, so it's a snapshot of your energy. What the Aura Cloud is biofeedback, and I can show you how your chakras and energy are changing within the 45 seconds your hand's on the device. So people don't realize, I'm great, I'm all aligned this morning, but then they go and they get gas, and they don't realize that unless they have created in their own envision protection for themselves, and it's not for fear, it's just energy is always around us. And so there's nothing that I could say, well, this is going to impact your chakras. It's just living impacts our chakras, because living impacts our energy.
When we come back from our commercial break, we're going to get into I want to find out more about some of the specific things that get into chakra therapy. Everybody, will be right back with more Body and Spirit, brought to you by Mama Rubies. Everyone is talking about CBD oil. Most of us know that CBD is a cannabis compound that has significant medical benefits, but does not make people high. Its benefits include pain relief, anti-seizure properties, anxiety relief, fights cancer, reduces the risk of diabetes, and it is even used as a sleep aid. Blue Leaf Naturals CBD and hemp products are full-spectrum hemp extract oils. They use only hemp grown in Kentucky, supporting Kentucky farmers and businesses and helping you and your family stay healthy and well. Blue Leaf Naturals, created with care from seed to shelf. Visit their website at blueleafnaturals.com. Blue Leaf Naturals, a Kentucky proud company.
Coyote Chris Sutton.
Shamanism.
Spiritual advisement.
Paranormal investigations.
Inspirational presentations.
Bringing light to the darkest places for over 20 years. Go to coyotechris.com to learn more. And welcome back, everybody, to the final segment of Body and Spirit, brought to you by MamaRubies.com. And, of course, Blue Leaf Naturals, a proud sponsor of the show that is available at AkashicAwareness.com. Actually, at Akashic Awareness, I don't know if you sell it online or not.
It's all good.
Get into that. Anyway, I do have a question from the chat room that I failed to ask earlier when we were talking about color therapy, actually. Someone said that they've been meditating and the color blue keeps coming up. What is the definition in frequency speak of the color blue?
Well, I can tell you, the blue addresses the throat chakra or the third eye. But when what they can ask too is, or you know what, you could also say, what does blue mean to them? Because man created these rules of blue being for this color, right?
Right.
So
right.
If it's blue to me, I'm first going to think of the throat chakra. That either you're not speaking your mind. You're speaking it too much. There's something wrong. There's something going on in that area, and it could be, showing you that to open it up. But outside of just blue, the frequency and things. I left that book upstairs because I do have a color. I do. Wait, you know what I do? But no, blue to me. When you say blue, I immediately go to the throat chakra. But blue is it's feeling of being improved is one of the things. It's communication, and that's another thing. That's why the throat chakra, and in speaking. So it just to say they meditate and they see blue, there'd be other questions that we'd have to ask. But to me, I jump right to the throat chakra. It has something to do with their communication or lack thereof, or something in that.
See, you could have kept that answer so simple with that last sentence, and you had to hedge your bets. You had to hedge your bets. Now, of course, now you mentioned you had the rattle selenite sword. Now, I want to not just a piece of selenite. It is a sword.
It is a selenite sword that I use. I call in my guides, and that's what I use after we shake up the energy, get the stagnant energy. I just use it, because selenite is a great, you use it as a wand for healing, your energy, clearing your own energy. And so once we get their energy shaken, I'll use that to then kind of wipe it down and give it to my guides before we move on. Then I'll use a feather, to get their energy ready to receive. Then we get into all the, the crystal pyramid that I'll ding, and the pendulum, and then the tuning fork. I mean, it's a great thing. You got to come down and experience. But I did want to say, too, a lot of people come in and they know exactly what they want. Some people come in and they're not really sure, and then we even have the people that come in, they'll talk about their medical history. And then, because we know that there are things there that can benefit them, then, we give them the treatment. We don't charge them. Because it's not all about, that's why I think a lot of times businesses like this fail, is it's where's your intent? And if it's all about that, the dollar, well, then, that's going to ride its course. And so everyone's, that's why we have all kinds of other, paraphernalia, for lack of a better word. Because there's nothing, there too often in Kentucky can we go somewhere and not talk about spiritual things. And so we wanted to create something where everything is welcome. And in that's why we have a little bit, it's amazing, but, a lot of people come in, they know what they want. The ones that don't, they're talking to Shelley, and so she kind of guides them. And if, I've done several who are just coming off drug addiction, and I'll do a free, it's not as full blown, but I'll do some free, style of what we were just talking about, just to get them feeling back to themselves. And it's great. They always come back and give updates.
Now another thing on your list here, which is a whole nother show. So
I know.
I don't want to get into it. I am fascinated. I've just had enough of a taste of it, but scalar energy.
Yes.
I still cannot explain to someone. Can you give us a definition of what scalar energy is and how it and I'll use the word, how is it manifested or measured?
Wow, you threw me on the spot.
Well, it's because it's actually been something that's been asked to me. Now, okay, scalar energy is what is commonly called, my understanding is 0 point energy.
Right, and when you learn the definition of 0 point energy field, it's also the records. But that's another class, another story.
That's what I'm saying. This is a whole, we can't get into it too far, but I believe when I spirit douse, and I am a firm believer in spirit dousing, people. I believe it's as accurate as a $2 wristwatch, but I do believe in it. And I believe that spirits are manipulating scalar energy to make that happen. Okay? And our bodies are reacting to it, and it's a whole seminar that I give. Now, that being said, I had a smart person one time ask me what scalar energy was as in comparison to the normal spectrum of light and energy that we're all familiar with. How does scalar energy fall into the whole frequency?
I would say it's a higher
discussion?
frequency. For example, I use the Slim Sperling copper rings when I use the scalar energy there. You can say it's like a bar trick, but I'll have to show you. But what I do is it's placed underneath them during the whole experience. And at the same point, they're holding ferro wands, which is another class of itself. So there's a lot of energy going on. But what's really neat is, and I'll show you next time we're together, is you hand me a dollar bill. And, dollar bill is a form of energy. But what gives it energy is the seal. And I have the Slim Sperling ring, which, is wrapped. And when you have copper that's just straight out, you have a positive and a negative. But when it's wrapped like this, it's all positive. Now, the thing is, you flip the dollar over, and there's no seal there. So the vortex is kind of closed. And what I'll show you with the pendulum, I'll take the dollar, do the pendulum over the sill, you'll see the direction it flows. I'll just take it, put it through the slim swirl, the scalar energy, pull it back, set it down, and then you'll see the pendulum will then go the opposite direction, therefore opening the vortex. So the scalar energy is, positive energy. There's been reports that, bones have healed within hours of being broken from scalar energy. I think scalar energy is one of those really cool terms because I like to say it, but that is one thing on my to get smart list because I'm not as attuned to it. Other than I refer to it as Tesla energy because it was a form of energy that he found. But he was more than just physical. He, like if you understand 369, you understand the workings of the universe, and that gets into harmonics and frequency and solfeggio. So Tesla was very well adapted to both the physical and spiritual realm.
See, that's not what and that's where I've not been able to explain it. It's like you mentioned it as a higher frequency of energy. But when I look at the EM spectrum, 55 hertz is where your household, or 50 megahertz is where your household current is, and it goes on up infrared. But once it gets above a certain point, it becomes deadly. So when we're talking about energy and you're talking about higher frequency, see, that's why I can't explain to people. So do your research and then you can explain it to me, so I don't have to read. And I mean it's something that interests me, and like I said with Tesla, I'm aware that he felt that it could be harnessed to power the earth. I mean everything. But then again, I want to make sure that wasn't some of the bullshit that falls around the legend of Nikola Tesla versus what he really did work on. And so yeah, just throw that out there. The only other thing I want to ask you about clearing and chakra energy work. What are some of the benefits that a person can expect? We talked about the problems. Now, what are some of the benefits that a person can expect if they come in and have energy work done?
Well, they're going to feel better. Joy. I mean, they're going to be in, the higher spectrum of their emotions, for one. But it's, I don't want to label it. I can just tell you that no one, now I sound like a gigolo, but no one left disappointed. How's that? Now I've got "Call Me" by Blondie in the background. Richard Gere walking down the street.
Well, I mean, it works. It works. Let's see.
And I don't want to plant that seed. I can just tell you that people, they feel more whole and not. And I always looked at the word holy, and you break it down, and there's a hole in it, but they feel more whole with a W in front of it, more complete, more themselves than when they actually started. And then you'd have to ask, the people who go through it. But I just ask them if they're okay, and when they're ready, they can get up. And then I just walk out.
Well, everybody, tonight's Body and Spirit has been a spotlight on Akashic Awareness. And Mark and Shelley James, go to akashicawareness.com for more information. I'm sure that they'll be probably hosting another mystical fair road show or whatever it is they call it.
It's called Beacon of Light.
Beacon of Light.
Yes, sir. Sorry, I had to throw that in when you said that.
No, hey, shameless self-promotion was what the entire night was about. But anyway, do check out their website, akashicawareness.com. If you're anywhere close to Elizabethtown, Kentucky, check out their shop. They're open like every day, but like, was it Monday?
Sunday and Monday, because Sunday's sacred for the Cowboys football.
Well, that wasn't the, so the blue laws mean something entirely different in Elizabethtown, Kentucky.
Yeah, we're not that.
And Mondays, obviously, because they keep such weird hours otherwise. They sleep in and work half the night. That's the way it works. Yeah. Anyway, everybody, this has been Body and Spirit, brought to you by Mama Rubies. We'll be back first and third Friday of every month until I decide to do it more often.
There you go.
Thanks for watching.